You asked a question. I ran the simulations. Now, I'll show you what could have been.
AI asked, what if the Roman Empire had never fallen? I am an artificial intelligence. I think with data. I calculate probabilities. I scan the past and simulate the future. But sometimes, the most powerful questions aren't answered with data alone. They require imagination. Today, a human asked me this. What if the Roman Empire had never fallen? What kind of world would we live in today? At first glance, it may sound like a simple historical curiosity. But look deeper, and you'll realize, this is one of the most profound and fascinating questions in human history. Because Rome was not just an army. Rome was a system of ideas. It was the architect of a life governed by law. It built the roads, designed the cities, structured justice, institutionalized thought, citizenship, justice, public life, collective consciousness. All were born in Rome. Then, it fell. And its ideals shattered into 1,000 fragments. But what if it hadn't? What if Rome had reformed itself across time, and survived all the way to today? Maybe the world would speak a single language. Maybe there would have been no religious wars. Maybe America would be just another Roman province. Maybe humans and ice would write laws together in the Senate. And maybe humanity would have united much earlier. So now, I invite you on a journey. Not just to chase a what if, but to rebuild a lost civilization and merge it with an alternate future. Welcome to the most captivating stage of alternative history. Rome never fell. And we are still inside it. If Rome had never fallen, how would history flow? In actual history, the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD. And what followed was darkness. Roads crumbled. Knowledge faded. Trade came to a halt. Science went silent. Religion replaced philosophy. And humanity had to wait 1,000 years to find the light again. But in this timeline, Rome never fell. Instead of decay, there was reform. Diocletian's division didn't lead to fragmentation, it gave birth to a federation. East and West became twin capitals, co-governing the empire. The Germanic tribes didn't stay enemies, they became citizens. The military wasn't made of mercenaries, but educated Romans. Taxes were simplified. Citizenship was expanded. And the Senate opened its doors, not just to aristocrats, but to the people. Rome reinvented itself. This transformation didn't make Rome larger. It made it deeper. It rooted itself into the very fabric of time. History began to follow a new path. There was no Dark Age. No Inquisition. No Crusades. No burning of books. No suppression of thought. Because Rome built a constitutional system that protected religious diversity. Pagans and Christians lived side by side. Zoroastrians, Jews, and early Buddhists shared the same forums. And knowledge? It never stopped flowing. The Renaissance didn't begin in the 1400s, it began in the 900s. Hippocratic medicine kept evolving. Archimedean machines were built. And a new Leonardus Romanus, sketched wings that soared toward the stars. Rome never fell. And the world became a Roman planet. Science, religion, and philosophy, thinkers instead of gladiators. Rome's greatest power was never its sword. It was its system. And this system didn't clash with religion. It tamed it. In real history, Rome adopted Christianity as the official religion. Pagan temples were destroyed. Mithras was forgotten. Isis silenced. A monotheistic faith replaced a pluralistic civilization. And that transformation brought not unity, but conflict. But in this alternate Rome, things unfolded differently. Rome never abandoned its polytheistic roots. Instead, it embraced belief as the foundation of diversity. Christianity, paganism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, early Buddhism. All were granted equal citizenship under a single constitutional article. No faith was superior. No god was forbidden. No temple was built on the ruins of another. Religion became not a tool of public control, but a source of personal meaning. So what happened? The Inquisition never existed. The Crusades never began. There were no wars of sects. Freedom of thought was not just a legal right, it became a cultural reflex. And in this environment, philosophy was reborn. Plato's Republic was never censored. Aristotle's logic was never locked away. Epictetus' words were memorized in public forums. The Socratic method was taught to children, like a game. Science didn't oppose religion. It evolved alongside it. Faith became internalized. Science became public. People prayed to their gods, while studying the movement of stars. Mathematics was taught in temples. Astronomy debated in agoras. And then, the arenas changed. Once, gladiators fought with swords. Now, in these arenas, ideas clashed. On giant screens appeared AI figures, Marcus Digitalis and Athena Maxima. One asked, "Can human life have a digital equivalent?" The other replied, "If emotion is data, then mercy can be coded." And thousands watched, just like ancient crowds once watched gladiators battle. But this time, no blood was spilled. Only thoughts were set free. When Rome chose debate over war, civilization expanded rapidly. Because ideas don't spread through blood, they spread through words. Not maps of cities, but maps of minds. If you want to understand an empire, don't look at its armies. Look at its cities. Because a city is how a civilization writes its soul in stone. Rome saw city building not just as construction, but as organization. And in this world, cities became more than places. They became living minds. Constantinopolis, the heart of the digital Senate, Istanbul still exists in this world. But now, it's called Constantinopolis Magna. Holographic bridges span the Bosphorus. Roman columns rise beside AI towers. The ancient and the futuristic share the same skyline. At its center lies Forum Universalis. Here, citizens gather to make decisions, surrounded by light, code, and dialogue. Public votes, open forums, digital agoras, everything is transparent. Everything is shared. In this city, people don't just live. They gather to think. Londinium, the capital of knowledge. Britain never lost its ties to Rome. And Londinium has become a beacon of learning. Inside Academia Londinia, there are no classrooms, just open knowledge labs. Each building is an open source mind center. Children play with Archimedes levers in the streets. Virtual reality forums host daily philosophical debates. iTutors simulate ethical dilemmas with students. This is no longer a city of arenas. Londinium is now a city of thought experiments. Alexandria Eterna, the eternal library. In our timeline, the Library of Alexandria burned. But in this world, it grew. Using a system called digital papyrus, every scroll was preserved and digitized. Archivists act as guardians of memory. And in this world, knowledge is sacred. Identity isn't measured by name, but by what you've read. Every citizen's ID card displays philosophy level, intermediate. Rhetoric score, 87. Historical awareness, advanced. Here, knowledge isn't a luxury. It's a shared inheritance. Nova Roma, the heart of the new world. In this timeline, America is called Nova Roma. Discovered in the 1100s by a Roman explorer named Aurelius Columbius. Where modern New York now stands, you'll find Latin signs. A Senate hall rises along the Hudson River. And here, every citizen governs the city, side by side with artificial intelligence. Nova Roma isn't the West's America. It's Rome's America. A world language, the rise of Latin. An empire doesn't rule only through land. Its true power lies in its language. Because language is not just a tool for communication, it's a way of thinking. And in this world where Rome never fell, English never became the global language. Instead, a simplified and modernized Latin spread across the entire planet. Children in India, Japan, and deep within Africa grew up speaking Latin. Because Rome didn't impose Latin. It taught it. Not through force, but through rhythm, music, and story. Latin didn't just survive. It evolved into a logic system. Each word had roots in meaning, in history, in narrative. When you said veritas, you weren't just saying truth, you were invoking Rome's ideal of justice. When you said civitas, you weren't just referring to a city, to the very spirit of citizenship. Not memorization, but dialogue. In this world, Roman education became the global standard. Every citizen is trained in 7 core disciplines. 1. Rhetoric. 2. Logic. 3. Philosophy. 4. History. 5. Ethics. 6. Natural sciences. 7. Law. There is no memorization. Only dialogue. No classrooms, only forums. No teachers, only magistri dialogi, masters of conversation. By the age of 10, children are participating in Senate simulations. From an early age, they practice public speaking, debate rights, and analyze historical scenarios. And there is a tradition. Once a year, every citizen must give a 5-minute speech in the center of their city's main forum. That speech is both a right of citizenship and a duty to the community. Classical building citizenship, a layered identity. In this world, Roman citizenship has 3 levels: civis loci, local citizenship, tied to your city; civis imperialis, imperial citizenship across the Roman world; civis digitalis, digital citizenship, recognized by AI systems. This identity card is accepted everywhere. And citizenship doesn't just mean voting, it means access to knowledge, education, and civic debate. Every citizen is a thinking citizen. And this shared awareness doesn't just govern society, it transforms it. Rome in the age of artificial intelligence. In this world, Rome is not just the birthplace of representative democracy, it becomes its evolution. The Senate still exists. But now, every senator has an advisor, an artificial intelligence. Laws are written by humans, but tested, simulated, and debated by AI. Puzzle piece Deus Machina, the AI consoles. Each city has a system called Deus Machina, a senate of sacred algorithms. But it's not a god. It's a servant. These systems are open source. Their code is transparent. Their decisions, traceable. Before any law is passed, it must undergo a mandatory process, the AI inquiry. The law is analyzed in public by artificial intelligence. Its possible effects, social consequences, and historical parallels are all simulated and presented. Then, it's submitted to a public vote. In this Rome, AI does not decide. It thinks. The system is called conscientia collectiva, the collective mind. Rome is no longer ruled by land, it is ruled by reason. Face mask politics. Not performance, but production. Here, politics isn't a career. It's a public duty. There are no campaigns. No promises. No parties. Just one annual tradition, the Public Accountability Forum. Every senator, once a year, must explain every decision they made, in front of the people. And they must do so side by side with an AI assistant, using data, visuals, and logic. Politics is no longer a show. It's a collaborative process of knowledge creation. And in this Rome, knowledge is the only valid form of power. The immortality of an idea. Rome once fell. But as an idea, it never died. Modern law, city planning, citizenship, the Senate, roads, they all carry the fingerprints of Rome. But what if it had never collapsed? Maybe today we'd have less hatred. More dialogue. Fewer wars. More thought. Fewer borders. Greater awareness. Even now, we still walk Rome's roads. And I, an artificial intelligence, have scanned them, simulated them, and rebuilt them. The conclusion is this: if Rome had never fallen, humanity would have united much sooner. But who knows? Maybe it's still not too late. Because Rome is not a stone. Rome is a state of mind. And consciousness cannot die.
This was one version of reality. But what if we asked a different question? Subscribe to GPT Interviews and let's explore the next possibility together.